right now. Just started.
Excellent. So we wanted to welcome everyone to really our inaugural series of workshops that are being presented by the Writing Center and Miss Iris Chow, who is our Writing Center Director, and she'll be the facilitator for this session. And this is the session for faculty. We have a session right after this for students, and so far we have delivered this once for faculty and once for students, and we had a good turnout on the student side, not so much on the faculty side, so we're happy to see everyone who is on the call participating today. Thank you for that. And if you would please let Iris know your name in the chat box or verbally, because we would like to send you an evaluation survey of the workshop and what your impressions are. This will help us with our continuous improvement efforts on everything that we do, as well as to provide us feedback on future workshops and that type of thing. I will let you know that the next workshop that we have planned for the next quarter is on Vericite and plagiarism, which I know is a very important one for all of the faculty. So again, thank you for joining us today. And the focus of the workshop today is APA Basics. And just a refresher for some of you and perhaps some new information for others like me who haven't used the APA formatting in quite some time. And what our goal is to really have a standardized focus across the curriculum and make sure that we are enforcing the APA standards from the very beginning of the program until the very end of the program, regardless if the student is in a baccalaureate, associate's, master's, or doctoral program. Because we do find that there are some discrepancies in the way that faculty do oversee and utilize the APA standards, which is somewhat confusing for students, and we do receive that feedback. So the first thing is to make sure that everybody has a level playing field. Does everyone understand what the APA basics are, the formatting? And if you don't, this is a great forum to ask questions, and we have some additional resources that Iris will speak to that are posted on the Faculty Resource Center. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Iris to facilitate our session. Thank you very much, Iris.
Thank you, Bonnie. So you see the chat box, hopefully. So anytime during the presentation, if you have any questions, just feel free to type in, or you can just ask a question verbally, of course. So today, we're going to just cover some APA basics, and I have the slides one by one simply because it's actually in a audio threaded presentation format, so when I play it as a slideshow, I know I can fix that, but it's also uploaded onto the student forum, so it's in resources. So anyway, I'm going to just go by the slides one by one, and I also have some web sources to go over as well. So today, of course, just some basic APA for a lot of you. You're pretty familiar. We're going to look at some videos that look at setting up title pages and text citing, references, resources that you can use. That some of them are also from Steve's batch of, or Dr. Hess's batch of resources for students. So, of course, this is meant to assist students with APA basics and also faculty, of course. Okay, so we have essentially APA, what does it stand for? I think most of us know it stands for American Psychological Association. It's a format basically used in academic writing to level the playing field so that everybody turns in a paper that is consistent in content structure and also, you know, the margins and so forth, so that we don't have people turning in a paper that's, you know, kind of a poem size to kind of, I guess, sidestep the page number requirement or whatnot, which, you know, isn't really something that hopefully most people hopefully do not do. Okay, so if we look at the apa.org site, there's a lot of good information that exists on that site itself. And so we're looking at format aspects. Okay, so a lot of questions can be actually answered if you just do a quick search. In addition to that, it has resources available for the most popular questions that you may have. They have tutorials, online courses, frequently asked questions, so both student and faculty can receive information regarding APA and be very useful, hopefully. So they have samples explaining what APA is, anything from references, questions to even grammar and formatting the head, which a lot of students may have some trouble with. So this is a great just go-to resource for students as well as faculty. I always, of course, tell the students that the formatting is dependent on the assignment prompt as well, so that way if there are any exceptions or any special requirements, the students know to make sure that they ask the instructor and read the assignment prompts very carefully as well. There are also YouTube resources that are available, of course, that can really assist in formatting, and I'm going to play one of these. This one is the Purdue OWL series of videos. I think are pretty effective. Everything from the references list basic to essentially just a simple title page can be good for viewing and review.
Before we get started, one thing that's really helpful is to have this formatting key selected. And what this does is it shows the format symbols that are generally used.
So of course it's dependent on the Word document. If you have 2013, 2010, I'm not going to show the whole video.
Show up and indent other so it's really useful because the APA format is very, very precise. We want to make sure that all of your formatting is done precisely as well, and being able to visually see each space. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure that all the pages can be set up correctly. So what we want to do is make sure that we have everything at double, everything should be double spaced, line spaces. The margin should be 1 inch margins all around. I know sometimes the default will be to have 1 1/4 inch on the left and right, but we want 1 inch all around. And then the font as well should be some standard font, generally Times New Roman, and size. That'll be common across your entire page. Now to set up the title page, first we're going to make the title our name and our name. So we can hit return a few times, center ourselves, and then make the title. Below the title, write your name, and then your.
I'm going to fast forward this just a tiny bit.
This is going to be the first
take a look at the running head
of your paper in all capital letters. Generally, this shouldn't be more than 50 characters, but just the first few words is fine. Now you can hit the tab button, and it should move your writing pad over here. If it doesn't go all the way to the left, what you can do is this little small triangle up here, you can move that, and that changes the indent. You want this all the way to the left. And once you've done this, this first part, so right here, this right. Now what we're going to do next is format the rest of the document. So hit return a couple more times at the bottom. And what you have to do next,
you can access this on your own as well. I'm going to forward it slightly.
The way that this will work is you can see here when I'm in the header, go into the design tab over here, this button will automatically link the previous. Click that button to unlink it from the previous header. And now you're going to put the words running pad. Just have the title. And now you can see the header on the first page and the second page.
Okay, and that a lot of students, of course, we all know, have some trouble with. and hopefully a video like that can assist in clarifying. Any questions so far? Okay, so there's also a second video that looks at, of course, just general references list, basic. And you can find more exciting videos, obviously, that may be more interesting. We have some located in the Writing Center resources for students.
Your instructor may have different guidelines to follow. Always follow your instructor's guidelines. In this task, we cover the basic rules of APA citation. For information on in-text citation, please refer to the link in the description. For this demonstration, Microsoft Word 2007.
So again, depending on your Microsoft Word.
It should have the same 1-inch margin and header. Your essay title is the page number. Label the page references. Enter the word at the top of the page, but do not italicize or print information. Double space all citations, but do not skip space. To set your line space double space, open up the paragraph in Microsoft Word. Change the default line spacing setting from accurate to 0. Then change line spacing from multiple to double. Each entry should have a hanging indent, which means that the first line of the citation is flush with the left margin, and the second and subsequent lines are indented by spacing. To create a hanging indent, open up the paragraph in Microsoft Word. In the indentation menu under Special, select Name. Authors' names are inverted, last first. As in the example circled in red, is the last name official for all authors of a particular work, or up to and including 7 authors. The work has more than 7 authors. Blue lists the first 6 authors after the ellipses, last authors. Reference list entries should be alphabetized by the last name of the first author of each work. If you have more than 1 article by the same author, single author references or multiple author references, the same author using the same verb chronologically from early. Present journal titles in full and maintain the punctuation capitalization used by the journal in its title. When referring to books, chapters, articles, or web pages, capitalize only the first letter of the first word of the title and subtitle. The first word after a colon or dash in the title is a proper noun. Do not capitalize the first letter of the second word or type compound word. Italicized titles of older works such as books and journals. Do not italicize underline, put quotes around the title of a shorter work, as journal articles or essays. For more information on APA citation, please visit the links provided in the description. This has been a presentation of APA formatting reference.
Okay, so the videos can be viewed again and again by students so they can get the formatting down. Do we have the students list the instructor's name and date of submission on the cover page? Again, I believe it depends on what CIU has for certain assignments. That's just basic APA. And so again, just as the video states, just the instructor kind of can be a guide to the students. So it's up to the course and the instructors. Okay, so we're going to move on. Instead of videos, we also have Purdue OWL, which I believe a lot of instructors refer students to. And this is a general guide to everything that maybe students may have questions on concerning APA. So everything from just kind of in-text citation basics to specific examples of different numbers of authors and how to in-text cite that, as well references lists, which can be difficult, of course, basic rules, and then just specifics on different types of sources. So a lot of students have, let's say, electronic source questions, how to format that, journals, when we use the Learn databases, a lot of times, of course, the citing can be already accessed and done for us, and we can visit that. I'm sure most instructors let students know that. So sample paper so they can look at it, and then some suggestions on tables and figures and so forth. So this is, of course, a wonderful guide for everybody to use. I teach MLA and APA at different for different classes, and so sometimes just want to refresh my memory on the different formats. So you can also go to our Writing Center, and Dr. has helped put this together for us. And it has lots of goodies and information here for us. So block quotations, just a crash course on APA long block quotes, what the general rules are. So very useful. As well as how to cite when you know the authors. So examples, so great reference as well. And if we scroll down, we have click the percentage symbol on a PDF that looks at how to do numbers and a guide to that. And how to do short quotes. So having the signal phrase so that students don't just have the standalone quotes. So that's a requirement, of course. And we've also added some web sources. Purdue OWL is here, Grammar Bites is here, just students as well as not just working on the paper, but we have Grammarly, which kind of looks over various grammatical issues. But Grammar Bites actually is a fun way to, I wouldn't say fun, but an easy way, a user-friendly way of kind of reviewing some aspects of sentence structure, things like that. So I always direct my students to tips and rules. So if they need to work on comma splices, finding and fixing fragments, things like that, they can come in and it just tells you the quick and dirty rules on, let's say, commas, what the rules are, and also some examples so they can refresh their memories. In addition to that, I also have the College Writing Center and on top of beneath the Purdue OWL. So it's not just Purdue OWL that we can use, but for just essay writing, structure, things like that, the writing resources can be helpful, and strategies for essay writing. So how to read an assignment, how to move from assignment to topic, counter arguments, transitioning, just revising, and outlining and developing a thesis. So a lot of things that may be useful. So just kind of good review overall. And one more thing on our Writing Center, we also have a link to They Say, I Say, which is the PDF second edition of a book that looks at kind of a template-based integration of source material. So how to quote, paraphrase, so on and so forth. You can see the table of contents here. the art of summarizing, the art of quoting, how to respond, how to kind of tie in the writer's voice with the source material. And if we scroll down, there's lots and lots of chapters. But at the end of the book, I hope I'm not making anybody dizzy. There's an index of templates, and of course you can make this bigger so you can see this a little better. I'll make it bigger. A lot bigger. I don't know if we need it that big, but anyway. So just kind of different ways of introducing quotes. So we don't always have it states, the author states, so on. You can say argues, believes, complains, so on and so forth, reports, and then just different ways of kind of setting up arguments while integrating source evidence. And you can kind of go over that on your own. At the end, there's also a list of transitions that students can use to kind of help organize their papers without hopefully not overusing, but just helpful material like that. Okay, so that's the Writing Center. And then we also have some handouts for students as far as preposition usage, transitions, so on and so forth, and great videos on quoting and paraphrasing, APA style, summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting, and then how to write a good argumentative essay, evaluating sources, not to just take any source that they can get their hands on, and just some writing videos as well. I'm just going to show a quick quoting and paraphrasing video. And before I start that, any questions, anybody? Okay, here we go.
We're going to discuss the differences between quotation and paraphrase, and also answer some frequently asked questions concerning quoting. We're all familiar with quotation, where we take the exact words from another source and place them within our text surrounded by quotation marks. Paraphrase is different. Here's our original quote. Happiness, more specifically positive mood, is influenced by genetics. Eating adherence is supposed to genetically determine set point for happiness, above which one cannot rise, by Peterson and Harper, 2009, page 3 or 4. Instead of including these exact words, they want to provide our reader with just the main point of the text. We do that with a paraphrase. Here's a paraphrase of that quotation. Genetics is partially responsible for a person's happiness, establishing a limit for how happy one can be. Peterson and Park, 2009, 4. Even with a paraphrase, we'll still create an in-text citation just as we would when quoting. In creating this paraphrase, we convey the main point while following the number one of paraphrase. Paraphrase in your own words. We didn't just take the quote and change a couple of the words. We altered everything. The main idea is the same, but the two sentences are very different. There are times where we might want to include a unique word or phrase from the original quotation into the paraphrase. For instance, the phrase "set point" would be useful to include in the paraphrase. So we do that by placing quotation marks around. Now let's look at some common questions that may come up while quoting sources. How do we format really long quotations? For quotes that are 40 words or longer, we will create what is called a block quotation. Notice how the quote is set off in the rest of the text and not within quotation marks. It is started on a new line and indented a ½ inch or 1/2. We have still included the author's last name and publication date. The page numbers are still at the end of the quotation in parentheses, but after the closing punctuation mark. How can we skip part of a quotation? When typing a quote, we may want to omit part of it if the information isn't essential. We can do this by using an ellipsis or 3 dots in a row in place of the different words. The in-text citation will be the same. We're reading a journal article that has a great quote from another source. If we use the quote, we would cite the journal article or the original source where the quotation first appeared. Ideally, we would use the citation in the journal article to find the original source and then cite the quotation from there. However, if we can't access the source or don't have time, we can cite the quote as an indirect source. Do that by including the original source's author in the sentence. In the parentheses at the end of the quotation, we will include the word as cited in, and then the author, date, and page number of the secondary source.
Okay, so hopefully that's a good resource. And one more before we exit the Writing Center. Evaluating sources.
If you want to succeed at your assignments or research, you should only use quality information, whether it's found in books, journal articles, or websites. Use the following criteria, also known as the CRAT test, to critically evaluate any source of information. Currency. When was the information published, updated, and/or revised? The information out of date for the topic? Relevance or intended audience? How much information is presented? Does it provide a superficial treatment or a detailed analysis? Is the information related and relevant to your topic? Is the readership level appropriate, neither too simple nor too sophisticated? Authority. Not all books or journal articles in an academic library are scholarly. Who are the authors and/or editors, and what are their credentials? For journals, are articles peer-reviewed? That is, do they have the approval of other experts in the field? For books, are they published by scholarly presses, popular presses, or self-published? Accuracy and verifiability. Does the source match your understanding of the topic? Can you verify the claims in other sources? Never rely on just one source. Is there a bibliography or list of works cited? What types of sources and how many relevant sources are cited? This is an indication of the depth of the author's knowledge. Purpose and objectivity. Is the purpose stated? Is the subject approached from an objective standpoint? If not, what is the author's bias and how might it influence the information presented? Be wary. There may be more than one perspective on any given issue. Using these criteria, currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose, to critically evaluate sources of information will help ensure that you're only using quality sources.
Okay, so you get the idea there. And then to continue on, just a quick visit to the online library. And I'm sure all of you know about the databases, but we're going to just visit. Let's go. ProQuest, and I want to go to a different one real quick here. ProQuest, let's take a look here. Oh, Academic Complete, let's take a look at that. By category here. Let's see. Okay, give me just a minute, please. Business, computer science. Okay, I'm just going to pick one here. Okay, Academic Complete kind of covers most of the bases here. Do a random topic. Oops, my bad. It'd be good if I could spell. Sorry. Okay, so that looks at mostly books, and I wanted to actually visit the database. Just a moment. ProQuest. I'm familiar with that one. Okay, so I'm just going to type in a random topic. Anybody have one to give me so that maybe it could be more useful, more specific? Anybody want to type one in for me in the chat? Or I can just make one up, I guess. Yeah, we do full text always, I tell my students, of course. And also if we want specifically peer-reviewed, modify search. Text, peer-reviewed. And And you can narrow results, of course, by publication date. Looking at, let's see, narrow the range here. I usually like about 5 to 10 years, depending on the topic, of course, so that we don't get 1,300,000 down to 51, and you can keep going as well. So we have full text, we have peer-reviewed, and then also the specific types of journals. So let's say we only want scholarly journals. We already have that. Okay. All right. So, of course, it's from most recent to least, or most pertinent to least pertinent. And we can take a look at the abstract, the students can, and then read the full text. And, of course, the nice thing is it cites it for everyone, so that it would be easy for the students to use, of course. And I've had students actually use the wrong or incorrect citation, and I always tell them to make sure they're not doing MLA. I've had some students use MLA instead of APA. In addition to that, we have EasyBib, of course, which is a free citation machine for students to, if they use web sources. Of course, I recommend they have websites that maybe have the .mil, .edu, .org, .gov to them instead of just .com, because they might have more academically appropriate material. Okay, so of course they want to make sure it's an APA. It should be free. Yeah, APA. That's interesting. Should be free, but maybe only an MLA. Need APA citations. There we go. I usually refer this to my students for MLA, but let's take a look at Night Site. Okay, so same idea. I mean, there are a lot of these citation machines students can use for other types of sources other than the Learn databases, where it cites it for them. And I always tell them to be careful and type in as much information as they have access to for that source, and then it'll format it for you, but still reference Purdue OWL, apastyle.org, just to kind of make sure that it's in line with it, and then they can kind of paste it into their references. Okay, so we were still at the title page sample, but I've shown you the videos. There's also in-text citation, part of the series of videos I believe that Purdue OWL offers. So you can find that easily on the YouTube site, or you can Google. And that was the video that I just showed you on paraphrasing, quoting what needs to be included. Also showed you the references list video, and then just some general rules, which the APA site for Purdue OWL has its sample, just tables and figures from Purdue OWL website. A page which you can find on Purdue OWL. This is hard to see on the slide, but you can magnify it, print it out, whatnot, or not print it out, but offer the link to students. And then additional resources, blogs on APA, the sample paper link, and so forth. And last but not least, also sources, links that you can use for APA information. So this is courtesy of Dr. Hess, actually, and I just kind of cut and pasted it in. And then the Writing Center reminder, the resources that are available there on these slides as well. And then, last but not least, we had put together, Dr. Hess and I, some questions. I know I highlighted the answers, but we can just kind of go over these, and then we can see if anybody has any questions overall. So essentially, looking at the reference list, kind of the formatting, the reference section should start on a separate page. The reference entries should appear in alphabetical order, and that is, of course, true, as you can see in the video. In which sentences has the quotation been integrated successfully? And C is the best answer. Although they use the colon to lead into a short quote, but of course we could use the template list that is in the Writing Center, as well as using the PDF textbook form of They Say, I Say, which has the templates of different ways to use signal phrases to lead into short quotes as well. Okay, number 3 is pretty common knowledge. Not to, yeah, excuse the pun, but basically common knowledge, in fact, do not need citation. And then we keep going here, sorry. Let's see, number 4. Yeah, personal interviews are unnecessary. And then this number 5 was there's an error that occurs in the quoted material. D will indicate, basically using that, 6 will indicate that that was the original format and not a mistake. And also, when a work has 2 authors, excuse the verb tense, and remember to mention both authors. Running head, as the video stated, 50 characters usually. Reference when citing yourself. Citation correctly formatted. C would be the best answer. the correct answer, and which is one of the following items is not part of a journal reference, and that would be D, data access retrieval. And finally, just a couple of other questions. Which one of the following items is not part of a website reference? A will be the answer, the name of the website. 12, which one of the following sentences uses the active voice? So oftentimes students write too much in the passive voice. So this is a question from, I believe, one of the CCA exams that asked about what active voices. It would be good to know for students that may have questions about what passive voice means and why they should avoid that. Okay, so let me look at some questions. Okay, Varga, was that your last name? Azad. And then let's see, question of the URLs. 3. Question whether should the students use this or should they use the, oh yes, we had come across this last time in our workshop, and that is, the answer to that is right here under the APA. I believe we used the, we saw this last time, digital object identifier right here. So I believe now we're using probably more of the DOIs instead of the URL. So you're right, Nani. That when DOIs are available, you include them for both print and electronic sources. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So that's all I have. We're coming to about 1:16 or so. Any suggestions, questions, feel free to type in or just ask. I believe I can hear all you guys as well. So that concludes
No questions.
Yes. No questions?
No questions. You did a fine job.
Okay.
This is Tom Baresh.
Thank you very much.
Iris, can we, I'm not sure who's on the call. Can you give me a rundown? So far I have Marie Bakari, Nigel Basta, Stephen Hess. Who else is on the call?
Donald Baresh.
Donald Baresh, got it.
Ming Wong.
Dr. Ming,
Yeah.
got
Hi,
it.
Ming. Yeah. Hi, Ming. I know Ming. Hi. We met at the graduation. And then Nadine Basta. Nigel Basta. Steve, and then Varga. He gave. Let's see.
Yes, I know Varga. Azad. Got it.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
All right.
Good. So everyone, thank you so much for your attendance and participation today. We do have a couple of more minutes on the forum, and I do want to remind you that this is a great opportunity for you to pick Iris's brain, and also Dr. Stephen Hess is on the line too, our Dean of Graduate Studies. So if you have questions about APA, please make sure you ask them during this forum, and or you can email them at a later date if you don't want to address the questions in the forum. But this is a great opportunity for us to have some really, really good, rich dialogue about some of the challenges that you might have with APA formatting and some of the issues that you have with your students. Keep in mind that probably whatever experience you're having, your students have the same experience, and your fellow colleagues on this call have the same experience. So if anyone wants to throw out some questions there for discussion, we do have about 10 more minutes. So please use that time. Don't be shy, because I know that there's a lot of feedback that you get from your students, and some students are very confused, and our goal, remember, today is to make sure that we understand the basics of APA as a faculty, we all start out on a level playing field, and then we move forward with the implementation and expectations of students across the curriculum. So having said that, I'm going to open it back up. And you know we have your names, so don't make us start calling on people individually.
Oh,
I can't believe that no one has a question here for Iris or about APA. Everybody's an APA expert.
Maria, ask a
The
good
only thing
question.
I have to say, this is Don Baresh. I'm sorry, did I interrupt anybody?
no, I
In
think
any
you're good.
Okay, in any case, I like the use of the word, use of the website Night Site, but I've also found that if I put in Google APA citation and then the kind of citation such as a movie or a book or whatever, there are a plethora of websites available that will give me the actual formatting. I don't need, I no longer need the 6th edition. I can just go to the web. But not that the 6th edition is a bad thing. It isn't. But it's very easy to find the correct citation. In fact, I've used it on a number of occasions. So the fact that you're going through this kind of material is very beneficial. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, sometimes students try to do the same thing, but they might not be searching on Google exactly, as refined as the instructors can, and sometimes the reference format then goes a little awry, and they actually find something that's a different format and have no idea. So it's kind of nice to at least have a reference point for them to compare to and make sure, because once they become familiar, of course, they kind of can recognize when something's kind of APA formatted versus, let's say, MLA, which is, often the one that they may be finding that might, cause them to have the erroneous format.
Well, you're absolutely correct. I remember my beginnings in learning APA as part of my PhD dissertation, and I will not go into the difficulties I had. But now that I'm very familiar with it, the fact that it exists on I can find things on Google is very beneficial, particularly since I remember the days of writing the dissertation and having to peruse through each page. Is it here? Is it there? Is this what I'm looking for?
Right.
And I remember that very well, and I remember the annoyance I felt at being able. Why can't this be much simpler? Was my thought, and
Right.
of course the internet has made everything a lot simpler, which
Yes.
is much to my happiness. For good or
Yes.
for not so good.
Right, and as long as students know how to use it correctly, then it's really good. Sometimes, they get off track a little bit, but yes, definitely technology has changed. I remember having to use a handbook for my MLA when I was working on my bachelor's in English, and now it's so much different. So yes, definitely. Agreed. So Marie, you have a question. How much do we enforce APA courses versus or APA courses versus GRC courses? Dr. Hess, do we have a response to that?
At the course room level, normal classes, not so much as compared to the GRC. The GRC and the CCA exam is where APA is emphasized heavily. But we're going to modify the courses themselves, the lower division like core and specialization courses, to start having students become more aware on APA and using it, utilizing a style guide, which is almost there, almost drafted, and working with the Writing Center more. So over time, we're going to see equal coverage or equal emphasis on APA throughout the entire program. But right now, since stuff is in development, you're going to see a lot more APA enforced at the CCA and GRC levels.
Thank you. And we're introducing a new course, an English Comp 2 course, Gen 201, where students do the whole run-through of from start to finish of learning how to use or find and use appropriate sources doing an annotated bibliography, and then using APA to format a paper from draft outline to draft stages to a revision, so that by the end of 201 they have at least a run through of a paper that's an APA.
All right, so we're not seeing any other questions. Iris, do we have anything in the chat box or anyone else before we go ahead and terminate the call today?
I think we're good. I think we have everyone questions addressed.
Good.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. Iris, thank you for your facilitation. We will get a survey link out to everyone so you can provide us feedback on your experience today. And we have recorded this, so we will load this into the Faculty Resource Center for future reference. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Happy
you.
St. Patrick's Day. Bye, everyone.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.